There once was a lonely old woman named Emily.
Emily lived with her servant in an old, dusty mansion. Then one day, there was an unknown knock at her door. When the servant peered out the blinds on a window, she noticed it was a townsman, there to collect taxes.
As Emily stood in the doorway, she explains to them, "I have no taxes in Jefferson. Connor Sartoris explained it to me. Perhaps one of you can gain access to the city records and satisfy yourselves." In response, the townsman asked, "Didn't you get the notice from the sheriff signed by him?" In return, Emily still refuses to pay taxes.
As the argument continues, their servant shows up, and Emily asks him to escort the townsman out.
After some time passes from the incident, a neighbor of Emily complained to the mayor about an odd scent, almost as if death spread its odor across the neighborhood. Multiple complaints to the mayor started to rise after this occurrence.
The next night, 4 men snuck into Emily's house. As they broke open the cellar door, they spread lime along it. As they ran back across Emily's lawn, a dark room was lit, and there she sat with a light behind her.
After a few weeks, complaints about the smell had vanished, and so did the smell itself. As people started to notice that the scent went away, they started to remember Emily and felt sympathetic for her.
They noticed that she was single, and the only person she had to rely on was her father. As her father passed away, she had nobody there for her, nobody to rely on.
Soon after, women started grouping together and decided to offer help for her. They wanted to offer Emily aid and sympathy, help her out while she's in need. They wanted to make her feel more welcome, even though her father just passed away.
Emily started to go through the 5 stages of grief. She denied for 3 days and told doctors that her father didn't die. Just as doctors were about to turn to the authorities, Emily broke down into deep depression.
As much time passed, people began to notice that she became ill both physically and emotionally. Emily started to look younger with her hair cut short.
Soon after people saw this abnormal woman, construction started to improve her view of her front yard.
As Emily entered a drugstore, she asked the druggist for some poison. Acting normal, the druggist asks her, "What kind of poison?" In response, she demands the strongest, most high-quality poison.
So as the pharmacist is grabbing the arsenic, he asks her what she will use it for, but instead of telling him, Emily grabs the bag and walks out.
The day after, Emily had begun to be seen with a man named Homer Barron. As rumors got out, and townspeople started to convince themselves that they were married. Soon after, Barron was no longer seen in public, so people came to the conclusion that he mysteriously just disappeared.
As years of Emily's life faded, she was no longer noticed by her neighbors. Generations after generations passed, and still Emily had disappeared.
But as soon as everyone forgot about her, she reappeared to teaching Chinese art to newer generations.
So she lived on through multiple generations, when all of a sudden she was pronounced dead.
Soon after, investigators arrived at her house and busted into a room that has not been touched in about 40-something years. Dust flew everywhere like rain.
Then they continued to look for things that caught their eyes and that were interesting to them.
As they furthered their investigation, they found Emily's servant's body lying in an old dusty bed, dead. As they looked at the pillow next to his head, they noticed a head indentation in it.
Soon after, they took a closer look and found a single strand of gray hair.
One that belonged to Emily.